So, about a month ago, I decided to move to Spain to study abroad. Now, I'm only here for the second semester of my first year of college. So, during my first semester in the fall, I was still in the States. And while there, they had me take this class that was essentially preparing me for my time here. And something that they talked about a lot was culture shock. That's probably not a very big surprise. I mean, that's something that I hear just travelers talk about when they go somewhere for 2 weeks. Um, they'll talk about how the food is different, the language, things like that. I see videos online about culture shocks I experienced in Europe, and they talk about like they don't have ice, and water isn't free, and milk isn't stored in the fridge. Um, all things that are kind of true. Water hasn't been free in my experience in restaurants. They do, in fact, store milk not in the fridge until it's open. As far as the first one, a lot of restaurants I've been to, like if you were to order like a Coke or something like that, they'll give you a cup with an ice cube in it, and then they'll give you like a cold bottle of Coke, and then you can just pour it into the glass and it's fine. But the type of culture shock that they talked about in my class was a little bit different. It wasn't specific things that were kind of shocking, and then you adjust to it, and then you're fine and dandy. It's this process that study abroad students like me go through. And of course, it's different for everybody, but they wanted to prepare us so that way, when this process did inevitably hit us, we'd be prepared and know it was normal and that it was going to happen. So, the first phase of this process is the honeymoon stage. It's like you're a tourist in this brand new place. You're wanting to explore everything, you're wanting to do everything, you're wanting to eat and see and drink and just have a bunch of fun, right? And then after a while, when you begin to live in a place, little things start to creep in. I don't know that much Spanish, so there is a language barrier when I go out to eat. And well, of course, duh, I'm in Spain. I don't expect people to speak English here. It is something that you do have to think about of, okay, what am I going to say? How am I going to order my food? Are they going to understand me? Am I going to understand them? And it can kind of just create this sense of awkwardness at certain times. But I mean, hey, that's just something you got to be prepared for when you're living abroad in a country that you don't fully know the language. So the language barrier tends to be the place where students first begin to feel frustrated, I guess. And then it's things like the different processes, the ways of life, and things like that, where after the honeymoon stage, you get into this phase of adjusting. And you start to realize it's not as easy as you thought. And over this past month, I've had a grand old time here. However, I feel like I haven't actually done that much. Like, I'm going to school, I've seen all the major things that every single tourist website says that you need to see, but I only have school 2 days out of the week, and the rest of the time I'm kind of just here in my room. And because of that, I feel like I have started to enter this adjustment period. Things don't feel quite as glamorous and surreal. It doesn't feel so much like I'm vacationing, it feels like I'm living here. So here's my plan, and here's why I'm making this video. Essentially, I feel like I need to remind myself why I wanted to come here in the first place. And of course, going through this adjustment period, they warned us you're probably going to feel frustrated and sad and homesick, and those are all very normal and okay emotions to feel. However, when I leave here in roughly 4 months, I don't want to look back and think I spent a lot of time in my room watching YouTube. I want to think about all the amazing things that I've seen and experienced. And don't get me wrong, this past month I have seen and experienced a lot of amazing things. I've gone to flamenco shows, I've seen the Royal Palace, I went to Germany last weekend. But through all the great stuff that I've done and seen and experienced, I haven't given myself much of an opportunity to fall in love with Madrid. And that's exactly what I intend to do in this series. Plus, I did promise everybody back home that I would actually film, record, and post stuff during my time in Spain so that way I could keep them up to date. So, where do I begin? Well, I came out here for a reason, right? So I figure a good place to start is by reminding myself of those reasons, essentially making a little bucket list. And once I do that, then the real fun begins. Hi guys. I apologize if the audio seems a little bit more off in this clip. I had to clip my mic because I'm going to type. Okay, so very first step in this process, I think it makes sense to just create a list of why I moved here in the first place. Reason number 1. Now, I'm quite ambitious, so I'm not just making this any normal bulleted list, I'm making this a checklist. So that way, hopefully, as I accomplish my goals, I can tick each one off. So, to be honest, the first and most influential reason why I came here is because it's close to other European countries that I've always dreamed of visiting. But that's not very Spain specific, nor is it Madrid specific. So what about here specifically? Well, 1, siesta lifestyle. Back in the States, I loved taking my afternoon naps, and here that's just like the norm, especially on Sundays. During the week, less so because people have work. However, on the weekends, specifically Sundays, after lunch, it's very common for you to lay down and rest for a couple of hours. And lunch is normally anywhere between the hours of 1 and 3. So your siesta might be from like 3 to 5 or 3 to 6. Number 3, food and drink. So listen, I'm 18, so in the States I cannot legally drink, so therefore I do not drink. However, here in the EU and in Spain, the legal drinking age is 18. So while obviously I have promised many people I'm not going to go crazy, I did want to try things like sangria and tinto verano and things like that. The food as well very much intrigues me. Now, over the past month, a lot of the meals that I've been having are here at home, cooked for me by my family. So I haven't had a traditional like tapas hopping night out yet. And that's something that I definitely want to do. I have had paella. I've had a couple more traditional meals whose names I cannot remember right now. And all of it's very good. I'm excited to go to some of the seaside Spanish towns and try out their seafood. Seafood's a very big thing here, and the state where I'm originally from, seafood is a rarity. It's so hard to come by, but I really enjoy it, so I've been having the time of my life here. Reason number 4, beautiful architecture. We see it all the time in movie montages where, people are walking up and down just these gorgeous picturesque streets, and here in Spain it's no different. Well, yes, some of the areas can look pretty similar to America, honestly. Other areas I wind up in and I am just in awe that I actually get to be here and live here. So I'd really like to go and explore those areas more, not only for the picturesque social media reasons, but also because it's so different than what you see in the States, and it's genuinely really beautiful. Reason number 5 is weather. Spain has gorgeous weather. Now, when I first got here, it was very rainy and cloudy, and sometimes it was cold. But honestly, there's been times where I've been out in a t-shirt, jeans, and a light jacket, and I've been perfectly fine. It's definitely not as cold as the winters I've had back in America. And as I think I mentioned earlier, I was in Germany this past weekend, and there it was cold. Reason number 6 is comfortability with Spanish. Now, like I said, I do not know Spanish at all. I can barely hold my own in a conversation, and my host family has to speak very slowly to me and in simpler terms than they use with their 6-year-old daughter for me to actually understand them. However, the community that I grew up in, I was very comfortable hearing Spanish, being around it, even if I didn't necessarily understand what people were saying, when I go on walks and I hear people speaking in Spanish, it doesn't feel much different than how it felt when I was in America, to be honest, because of where I live. And when I read restaurant menus, I was already quite comfortable with reading Spanish when it came to food. So it's kind of nothing new for me. I can read Spanish a lot better than I can speak it, and leagues better than I can hear it. But Spanish has been a language that I've always wanted to learn. It's something that I do genuinely want to make an effort to learn. So that was reason number 6. I don't know it, but I'm comfortable with it, if that makes sense. Reason number 7 is something I wish we had in the States. It's walkability and public transport. Hold on. I'm grabbing something. This little guy right here is genuinely a lifesaver. I love it so much. This is my Metro card. And because I'm a student here, I get unlimited access to the Metro, Cercanías, buses, except for the airport bus I found out this weekend, and trains for €8 a month. Unlimited access. It's fantastic. I love it. Back in the States, I did go to school in an area that did have public transit, and for that, I'm very grateful. However, it was not nearly as fleshed out and efficient as Spanish public transit is. Like, I could have never gone to school on that public transit, but I do go to school on the Metro and the Cercanías here. And of course, with that comes walkability. I love walkable cities. I wish America had more of them. There's nothing quite like getting to leave your apartment and having places to go eat and shop. So a lot of stuff is in close range, and I love that here. Reason number 8 is something that I actually didn't know about before taking that prep class, so I can't really say that it was a factor into why I chose Spain. However, now that I'm here, it's definitely a factor into what I find enjoyable, and that is nightlife. The nightlife scene here in Madrid is bustling and actually very, very safe. It's so weird. The second day I was here, I landed at 10 in the morning, had that day of like settling in. This was the next day I was hitting the ground running. Me and my friends were walking around Gran Via, and people, mainly guys, but sometimes girls, would come out of nowhere and say, "Hey, come to our club, come to our karaoke bar, you get a free drink." And being from America, I was super freaked out by this, because that's just not something that happens. And especially like where I'm from, if somebody approaches you like that, you need to go like then and there. Do not go with them, none of that. But here in Madrid, that's actually quite a normal way of advertising their business. I do think because we are a big group of girls, we probably get advertised to a little bit more than if we had some guys with us, but I digress. It's relatively safe. However, I've not ever accepted one of those offers. The few times that I've been out late at night is I've gone with friends to a place we've agreed upon beforehand. We've checked it out. It does not look sketchy. And so we go and we have a good time. And then we get back home pretty early in the morning, late at night, depending on how you look at it. And as we're leaving this place, obviously we gotta walk back to the bus stop to be able to get home. And it's been pretty safe. Yes, people come up to you and it's really annoying when they do, but it's not necessarily dangerous. And while nightlife and partying every day, all night, is definitely not really my thing, every once in a while it can be a lot of fun, especially when you go with the right people who you trust and you're in a safe environment and you know your limits. Reason number 9 is city life. I grew up in like a mid-sized city. We did technically have a downtown and uptown and things like that, but at its core, there really wasn't much to do. if it was a Friday night and you and your friends are looking for something to do that's fun and cheap, normally you just go walk around a mall. Mid-sized city stuff. Definitely not a small town. We did walk around a mall, not a Walmart, although I did do that. And Madrid is a big city. It's the capital of Spain. So being here, it's really exciting to see the opportunities that are here, just the things that I'm able to do that I wasn't really able to do at home, both in my accessibility to new opportunities and also just the size of things to explore. It's very exciting. Reason number 10 is the people. Spaniards can be very friendly and welcoming. I know my host family certainly is, and it seems like a lot of my friends' host families are as well. However, I haven't interacted with Spanish students at my university as much as I would like. I do take classes in English at a Spanish university, but there still are a lot of kids who are from Spain taking those classes with me, probably because they want to, fully learn English, get a bilingual seal, etc., whatever the reason is. But I've noticed that international kids tend to stick together and Spanish kids tend to stick together. And I think that can be kind of natural, right? You're automatically going to feel more comfortable with somebody who you know and can relate to a little bit more than somebody who you don't know and can't relate to right away. But what's the point of going to Spain if I only talk to Americans? So I guess that's something to work up to. Okay, so now we got our 10 reasons, and I'm hoping over the next 10 videos I can show you all the magic of Madrid and fall in love with it myself. And plus, I think it's a good reminder as I'm kind of going through this adjustment culture shock period, the reasons why I came here, the reasons why I took this risk and moved so far. It's an opportunity that very, very few people get, especially at my age. It's been a dream of mine since I was 7 to be in Europe, and now I live here. And that sentence still sounds absolutely insane to me. Buck wild. So, well, yes, feeling anxious and frustrated and homesick is a completely normal part of the study abroad process. I'm hoping this will also remind me of the excitement and joy and how amazing it is to be here and to experience something somewhere new. When I go back to America, I want to feel like Madrid is a home to me. Like I could come back here and be overjoyed. Madrid is my home now. So I'd like to make it feel like home. And if you're interested in following along as I show you all of the reasons to love this place and hopefully fall in love with it myself, please like and subscribe. I know this one is just me talking in my room, but I promise the rest of them will be me going through this list and showing you guys all the amazing things that Madrid and maybe some other parts of Spain and Europe have to offer. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.